If you're in a superhero movie, it's either suit up Barney Stinson style or go home. Luckily, these characters happen to be Legend, wait for it, Dairy.
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley!
So here are the top 35 suit-up scenes in superhero movies and TV shows. Yep, we're kicking things off with the ladies as Kara Zor-El shows us that nanobots aren't exclusive to the genius, billionaire, playboy, philanthropist category of superheroes. Her suiting up as Supergirl in her new nanosuit in front of Lena Luthor was the perfect example of quick and efficient, which is something most guys like to believe they are in certain aspects of life. Anyway, this was a great moment in the show and the effects team sure put their heart and soul into it to make sure Melissa Benoist looked dope AF. This scene alone was probably better than 80% of the DCEU's movies. Hey, just because a man has his shirt off doesn't mean he can't suit up. Take Colossus, for example. That dude can suit up with organic steel, and that's a flex not many superheroes can boast. The attack on the X-Mansion in X2 was an iconic moment for the franchise, and it still has tons of fans in the modern era. However, that's mostly due to Wolverine going berserk. What I want to highlight is when those attackers tried to take Bro down, but instead got to witness toned perfection. It's a smooth transition, and the effects look really good for their time. Unfortunately, this was probably the most badass thing Colossus had done on screen until Deadpool came along.
90s? Dad?
Moon Knight has been one of the few standouts for the MCU amidst a wave of diminishing returns with their lackluster projects. Yes, it's not perfect, but it does have a lot to appreciate, most notably the suit-ups. Well, they're technically transformations, but bro's got a suit on with all the drip in the world, so it most definitely counts. I've decided to highlight two such scenes in honor of both Mark and Steven. Yeah, I know that Jake's there too, but he's more of a mystery, so let's leave him at that. Now, the first suit-up comes from the famous restroom sequence where we're introduced to the brutality of Moon Knight. It's not explicitly shown, but there's enough to let us know that bro has switched attires. The real winner though is when Mark and Steven talk it out and let Mark take over with tons of sass. The suit up right before taking on the Jackal was beautifully done, and I sure hope the MCU gives us more of this character moving forward.
Rise and live again as my fist of vengeance, as my Moon Knight.
I don't know about you, Miss Kitty, but I feel so much yummier.
Yes, I may be more of a Halle Berry fan, but her turn will come later in this video, so let me at least show some love to the woman who turned Catwoman into an extremely popular character for the male fans. I've got to say, this is probably one of the most sensual female suit-up scenes I've seen in general, and I'm not just talking about the Batman franchise. The way Selena Kyle turns from a crazy, mayhem-inducing psycho into a self-conscious, fierce badass is amazing, and she made it seem so effortless. Of course, the money shot comes when we see her in her full glory, wearing the Catwoman outfit with pride and a sense of yumminess. Yes, it may not be a clear shot, but what's the point if there isn't a little tease? On a side note, I wonder what the cats must have been thinking when they saw Selena go mental. They're already used to judging humans anyway, so they must have had a field day with her.
But a kiss can be even deadlier if you mean it.
I know it's hard to imagine seeing a Ghost Rider that isn't Nicolas Cage, but that dude's busy being a vampire now, so we're gonna have to do with Robbie Reyes instead. And honestly, they should have made a separate show just for him. It would have definitely been more interesting than the disappointments Marvel's been churning out post-Endgame. Now, as far as the suit-up's considered, it's technically more of a glow-up, or in this case, a flame-up. Robbie lights it up when no one was expecting it, and the slight glimpse that we do get of Ghost Rider works well with the scene because the show was anyway limited in its CGI budget. You know the best part about this rendition of Ghost Rider is that the show acknowledges his power to be nothing more than just pure magic.
Wow, nice suit. Zip it, Stanley!
Well, I guess Deadpool really is the only superhero who can tell the legendary Stan Lee to zip it. Well, he does have the power of breaking the fourth wall, so perhaps he was able to identify him for what he was, a cameo. Now let's talk about the suit-up scene in the phone booth.
Not on my watch, mother.
Which is easily the funniest sequence in the genre I've ever witnessed. I mean, this is probably how Uncle Ben died too. But yeah, this suit-up goes completely against all the known rules of the game, and it gives us a refreshing take on the concept. I mean, I'm pretty sure all of us have wondered how long it usually takes to get into a whole costume made of tights. Luckily for us, Deadpool gave us the most appropriate answer, long enough for the victim to lose their life. Man, the usage of the Superman theme song would have cost a freaking fortune.
I spent way too long in the phone booth. If I'm being honest with myself, I probably should have just called 911.
And I couldn't stop laughing when Wade Wilson casually places his head on top of the dude who just lost his life. In such cases, it's just better to hand over the wallet. At least it gives you a slightly better chance of survival.
The f*** is a phone booth doing on a street corner? Didn't those disappear in 98?
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Oh yes, when it comes to questioning the decisions to include this entry, I can see, hear, and even smell the comments from miles away. Let me just say that the Hulk doesn't need a physical suit because he literally is the suit-up. Turning from a mild man to a ravaging monster indicates a much larger change than simply putting on a film prop costume. And you also need to consider that the Angry Green Giant is so big that it would be hard for the tailors to stitch something up for him. See, I'm a very inclusive dude and I don't restrict myself to conventional norms. Oh yeah, also don't forget that he actually rips his clothes open when he transforms, so that does qualify as some kind of attire change, right? You could say that his upper body was wearing a birthday suit, but my point remains that it's a classy sequence with a massive impact, and I'm not just talking about the Saitama level punch that Hulk landed on the Leviathan. Look, all I know is that I'm not going to question the guy's suit up just because it happens to be more towards the biological side than the fashion side of things. Batman is an icon for sure, and I definitely include him today one way or another, but I think I should also be fair to the other entries where either the stakes are high or the suit-up is super detailed, or even both. That's why I've decided to combine both the suit-ups from the OG Batman film from 1989, as well as its successor, 1992's Batman Returns. Both of these suit-ups are special in their own way as they hype up the audience for the Dark Knight's arrival. The first Batman film had a rather short suit-up display because we don't get to see much apart from Michael Keaton putting on his belt. However, the final shot had so much aura that it was almost blinding at a point. The sequel was also similar in a way as it mostly showed Bruce Wayne picking up his stuff and then striking a pose for the audience. You could even say that these suit-ups are mirror images of each other, and I wouldn't blame you for thinking that. Having said that, there's nothing quite like watching a bored billionaire turn into a bat-themed vigilante. Yeah, I really can't wait to see who the new Batman's gonna be in the Gunverse.
Go ahead and hit me.
Of course, you were going to see Iron Man on this list, weren't you? That man's whole brand identity is based on his ability to suit up in the most badass ways possible. Bro even managed to sneak past 2 Batman suit-ups. Now, when we look at his history in the MCU, Tony Stark has suited up with class on multiple occasions. However, one particular scene that deserves a first mention is from Iron Man 2, a movie that didn't even resonate that well with the audience. Anyway, the suit-up from the racing circuit sequence was a nice way to tell the world that Tony Stark had more than one suit at his disposal. The stakes were quite high as well, with Ivan Vanko's Whiplash coming in hot with vengeance on his mind. Luckily, Tony managed to get hold of his suitcase and activated Iron Man mode with great detail. Yes, it does take a fair bit of time, but Ivan wanted to show the world that he could compete against Stark tech, so I'm pretty sure him waiting for the suit-up to be completed was intentional. Well, I'm not complaining as long as we get iconic moments like these. Also, I guess the term suitcase makes a lot more sense for a guy like Tony Stark, eh? Come on, it has been a while since I cracked a dad joke.
I'm the best.
Yep, now this movie is available online, you can expect to see a lot more of such scenes moving forward in the TVCU.
I am Marvel Jesus.
Deadpool's primary mark of identification is his red latex suit, and it sure was a delight watching him don it again after 6 long years.
Adorn me, Beardo.
The suit-up in itself was pretty glamorized, with Wade Wilson making it known quite explicitly how he loves the suit. There was something else that stood out in particular too, which was the way that the old dude kept obsessing over Deadpool's bottom half. I mean, sure, one groin pull and butt spank is considered fairly standard in a Deadpool film, but to have this done multiple times, and that too in a sped-up version of the suit, was freaking hilarious. From the looks of it, the suit was the right kind of tight, just the way Wade likes it. There's also the adamantium swords, which was the cherry on top of the cake for me. While the suit-up may raise concerns over the ethicality of the old dresser, I don't think Wade would mind getting violated that way. For all we know, he could have been the one telling the dresser to do those things to him. As long as the old geezer doesn't have 1,000 bottles of baby oil in his home, I think he's off the hook.
It's perfect. FYI, your tailor is a predator, but I love it. Go ahead, take it in. And yes, your underwear is getting tighter. That guy knows what I'm talking about. His clothes say middle management, but his eyes say fuck. Woo!
The TV Regent is secretly a Halle Berry fan club, so any Catwoman slander in the comments will not be tolerated. Now, when it comes to the 2004 flick, I'm fair enough to admit that it wasn't a cinematic masterpiece, but who cares when you have Halle Berry making an entrance like that right after suiting up? The walk and flair with which she approaches the club from the rooftops of various buildings was so in sync with the character, and this scene alone was enough to create a separate fan club of its own, spearheaded by yours truly. There's the obvious allure of a woman with curves like those, and the costume totally accentuated that fact in this entrance. The appeal that Halle Berry brought to this character is second to none, apart from Michelle Pfeiffer, who is of course the OG. Yeah, I know the costume is very much a case of fan service to men of culture, but at the end of the day, this is an outfit which has become very popular during Halloween. So yeah, Selena Kyle takes the W on this one.
It smells like a new car in here!
It's kind of funny that the first entry to include a Stark Industries product in the video doesn't have Tony Stark wearing it. Well, it does have his prodigy, so I guess that should count for something. Peter Parker's Spider-Man suit before this was also made by Iron Man, but it was a pretty standard version with nothing too exciting in terms of suiting up. The Iron Spider suit, though, was a completely different experience. Going to space isn't for the faint-hearted, or beings that require oxygen to breathe, which is why Peter pretty much lost all his consciousness before dropping off the ship. Luckily, he had Tony Stark coming to the rescue with a major upgrade in the form of the Iron Spider, which is also made from nanotech. The instant suit-up was a delight to watch, and the post-Spider-Man strikes after that was definitely the perfect way to round off the moment. This is a good example of when variety adds a lot of value to an original concept. You can also call this a money flex from Iron Man's side, because that thing must have cost a fortune to make.
Kid, you're an Avenger now. Man.
It's important to note that public indecency is a punishable offence, and I'm glad that The Flash takes this rule seriously, although the same can't be said about the actor playing him. There were quite a few suit-ups in 2023's The Flash, and I want to include two particular moments. First was when the new Flash got his costume but didn't want to flash the audience in order to get into the suit. It's literally a blink and you'll miss it moment, but as a straight male, I didn't mind blinking here.
It hurts. You know where it hurts? In my dick. Okay, I know, but I don't need to know.
Now, for the second suit-up, it's the OG Flash getting suited up as well, while the other Barry essentially reverse engineers a Batman suit into a Flash suit. I don't know if I could call it innovative or shameless borrowing, but hey, Michael Keaton's Batman didn't have a problem with it, so I don't see the point in debating it. Oh yeah, the dollar store version of the Justice League moment only gets my respect because of Bruce Wayne agreeing to join it. His presence alone turned the dollar to a tenner.
You want to get nuts? Let's get nuts.
This is my business.
This is the same guy who went on to play the MCU version of Quicksilver, so yeah, he's definitely more suited to the kick-ass. Mind-blowing, isn't it?
3 minutes. Get what you need.
We may have all been waiting for Captain America to say Avengers Assemble, but in this scene, we had to settle for the Avengers suiting up. This coincidentally also includes Quicksilver, whom I just mentioned in the previous entry, so it's nice to see some continuity on the list. It was pretty cool to see the likes of Hawkeye, Pietro, Wanda, and of course Iron Man getting their outfits ready, and then you see Thor and Vision just chilling on the balcony as if they're those two boyfriends who always have to chill with each other while their girlfriends or wives are getting ready.
Right. Well done.
It was a truly enjoyable moment because everyone is united as one regarding the mission to defeat Ultron and end the mess he's created. I particularly like the part where Tony says,
Iron Man's the one he's waiting for.
and then Vision casually walks by saying,
That's true. He hates you the most.
It's reminiscent of the typical MCU humour that helped add value to their movies, rather than the cesspool of nonsense they use nowadays, thinking awkward jokes will help them earn billions of dollars.
Ultron thinks we're monsters, that we're what's wrong with the world. This isn't just about beating him. It's about whether he's right.
Seeing Thor in weird human clothing isn't a surprise if you've been familiar with the MCU for a while, but back in 2011, it sure felt weird to see the literal God of Thunder in a basic outfit.
This is going on Facebook, smile.
A man of Thor's stature shouldn't be in anything less than Asgardian outfits, which is why he returned to form against the Destroyer was a key moment for all of us. I'll admit that it was a bit funny to see him getting flung away and almost passing away after one smack from the Destroyer, but I'm pretty sure Chris Hemsworth knew he was going to be in at least another 6 Marvel movies. Yeah, there's Thor Love and Thunder too, but I like to think of that as a parody, not to be considered canon. Anyway, the moment when Thor becomes worthy again and holds Mjolnir in his hands was a surreal feeling, even though this was our first time seeing him in action. It was an instantaneous switch, and the battle that followed was short and sweet, but definitely not like Sabrina Carpenter.
So is this how you normally look?
More or less.
It's a good look. What?
Before she was marketed as a corporate product in Barbie, Margot Robbie had all the boys drooling over her, particularly thanks to that scene from The Wolf of Wall Street. Yeah, I can't show that exact moment here because of guidelines and stuff, but if you're a real man of culture, you'll have that memory etched in your heart. She's actually a very generous actress too, because if this wasn't enough, Margot went on to do something a little less R-rated in Suicide Squad. Dressing up as Harley Quinn is definitely a badass moment, but if you do it the way someone like Margot Robbie does, then you're surely going to have a lot of repeat viewers. Sadly, one scene may not have been enough for a man to come back to the cinema halls, but YouTube is the perfect place to live out that moment again and again, which is why this scene is so popular. Tom Ackley sure is a lucky man to have been able to wife her, but don't worry fellas, our day will too come in our dreams.
You gotta keep off these bars.
Want these bars?
Yeah, those bars. Oh my God.
Lord, play with me.
You put 5 of my guards in the hospital, honey. No one's gonna play with you.
Thank you.
Benedict Cumberbatch may have taken the world by storm when he played the iconic role of Sherlock Holmes, but let's not forget the fact that his blockbuster returns have come while playing Stephen Strange.
Doctor Strange.
Dr. West.
Haven't seen you in a while.
Yeah, I was a little preoccupied being dust there for 5 years.
The Sorcerer Supreme is nothing short of an absolute juggernaut when it comes to his superpowers, so it's only fitting that his outfit should reflect the same thing.
Glass of red, please.
Allow me, miss.
Mm.
A little too on the nose.
Not for you at my wedding? Nah, it was perfect.
Now, Doctor Strange's base outfit is pretty standard and nothing too fancy, but the moment you add that cloak, you've got yourself an absolute winner. In Multiverse of Madness, there's the scene during Christine's wedding where Strange has to spring into action after realizing there's a monster to be dealt with. The man was already in a dapper suit, but then he made it all the more awesome by revealing that his pocket square was his cloak the entire time. Plus, he didn't even throw his drink away. Bro made sure to place it on the tray properly instead of making a mess. See, now that's what I call a true gentleman.
There's only 6 of us, Logan.
Yeah, we're outnumbered. And we stand together. X-Men. All of us.
We're in.
Let's go.
Losing your leader in Scott Summers and your big boss in Charles Xavier can definitely make the entire team give up hope.
But we lost Scott. We lost the professor. If we don't fight now, everything they stood for will die with them. I'm not gonna let that happen.
When you've got people like Wolverine and the Beast taking charge, there's no worry for doubt. The suit-up scene here isn't detailed, but it showcases the mentality of the X-Men as a team that's ready to stake everything for the greater good. Logan said it best when he revealed to Iceman that Cyclops and Professor X are no more, but he still wasn't going to let what they stood for just get destroyed in front of his own eyes. It also goes on to show that despite Logan's differences with Scott, especially over Jean Grey, he still had respect for him as a leader. Of course, if you end up realizing that Iceman is an Omega-level mutant, he shouldn't already be needing such a pep talk, but I digress. Also, for all the times they did Scott dirty in this series, at least they gave him a somewhat respectful send-off.
They're ready.
But are you ready to do what you need to do when the time comes?
When you think of the character Black Panther, one of the many words that will most likely come across your mind is aura. T'Challa had so much of it that simply standing and striking a pose was enough for people to know that this dude was the king of Wakanda.
Ooh! The entire suit sits within the teeth of the necklace.
Bro could enhance a scene with his mere presence, and that includes the car chase scene with Ulysses Claw. The nanotech Black Panther suit is definitely a masterful work of art, and to see Chadwick Boseman don it while engaging in a chase scene that totally lifts the adrenaline of anyone watching it was a sight for sore eyes. The CGI was on point, as were the stunts, and you can just see how much of a difference it made to T'Challa simply by suiting up. Well, it kind of defeats the purpose of catching the villain if you're not using all your resources, so I suppose it was inevitable for us to see that.
The show off.
And yes, as always, rest in peace, Chadwick. All of us MCU fans, we really miss you.
In my culture, death is not the end. It's more of a stepping off point.
You're a good man, with a good heart. And it's hard for a good man to be king.
Now might be a really good time for you to get angry.
That's my secret, Captain. I'm always angry.
Okay, so I'm aware that this isn't technically a suit up and is actually more towards the suit down kind of transformation because, well, he loses all of his clothes apart from those extremely stretchable shorts. But hey, Bruce Banner turning into the Hulk is kind of like his own way of putting on his superhero clothes, so who am I to judge? Also, if we're considering a scene as iconic as the Leviathan punch, then he should be included at all costs. The most important thing we learn at first is that being angry isn't always a bad thing because Bruce is always angry, and look at how well he's able to channel it. In this defining moment, the Hulk demonstrated the true power of his transformation when he harnessed and controlled with the conscience of Banner. This unforgettable scene served as Bruce's first proper suit-up moment in the MCU, highlighting the immense potential of the Hulk's metamorphosis in the heat of battle. One punch is all it took for us to fall in love with the angry green giant more than Dua Lipa. But yeah, since everything happened so quickly, the impact is the defining aspect of the scene.
I am a god, you dull creature, and I will not be bullied by that. Puny god.
I'm calling Veronica.
The previous entry had Hulk being the hero of the scene, but in this one, he's the temporary villain that needs to be stopped before he goes completely berserk.
That little witch is messing with your mind.
Iron Man is the one tasked with this mission, but even though Tony Stark is the king of sass, even he knows that his normal suits won't even lay a scratch on the angry green giant. That's when he calls on the Hulkbuster, aka Veronica, to come and rescue him, which is, quite frankly, an epic suit.
Go to sleep, go to sleep, go to sleep.
I mean, Tony's already in an Iron Man suit, Then he gets another suit on top of that, which is able to go punch for punch with the Hulk. It's impressive enough that he was able to make something of this nature, but then to see it in action was the perfect dose of fan service all of us needed to see. Even the pose that he strikes as the Hulkbuster is cool AF. It's like he knows what he's up against and is confident that he can take it on. Not everyone can pull this off when they're fighting an unstoppable monster.
I'm sorry.
Converts water into beams of energized plasma.
David Kane may not be the most memorable villain out there, but his Black Manta suit was definitely a gem in the making. Right from the moment he got the suit to working on it and eventually turning it into a lethal weapon, bro was locked in and it almost felt as if I was watching Kanye West working on an album that he'll needlessly delay for months. I also couldn't help but notice the similarities between this scene and Tony Stark's sessions with the Iron Man suit. It's just another case of the DCEU desperately trying to replicate Marvel's success formula, but I don't want to throw any shade because this entry does land at number 12, which is pretty high, isn't it? We get to see him in the suit later on, but I want to highlight this particular sequence because it's what makes the whole reveal more impactful. And yes, you do need a bigger helmet, bro. That thing could barely fit Kevin Hart's head, and I'm not even trying to hate here.
Think I'm gonna need a bigger helmet.
Before Gal Gadot donned the iconic Wonder Woman costume, men all over the world weren't exactly going too crazy for it. They preferred stuff like Halle Berry's Catwoman or the Princess Leia bikini. However, after watching Princess Diana wear that costume for the epic fight on No Man's Land, it's fair to say that cosplay ratings went off the charts for that outfit. Now, don't ask me for what exactly these costumes are being used because I'd rather not get into the details, but if you know, you know. Getting back to the more PG-13 content now, seeing Gal Gadot completely embrace her new role with pride was a landmark moment for the DCEU. It was essentially their first proper W after a string of mid-box office performances, so I guess whatever they say about pretty ladies most definitely is true.
Well, pretty girl, bad habit, don't quote me.
Of course, this isn't to take away any credit from Wonder Woman herself, who looks iconic during the entire scene.
Hey, you know, just because your father's power is surging through me, that doesn't technically make us related, you know? And I'm gonna be 18 in like 5 months, so...
Stick to saving the world, kid.
This is a super popular moment from Tony Stark, so it was obvious it had to at least break into my top 10. I edged out Wonder Woman for it after all, eh? But come on, this scene totally deserves its spot because of how unique the suit-up is. I mean, how many times are you going to see your favourite superhero simply sitting on a seat and getting upgraded all in 3 business seconds? The Mark 46 suit definitely was an improvement from the suits of Iron Man 3, and its usefulness simply can't be understated. Man, I keep coming back to the MCU before Endgame because that was simply a peak which can never be replicated. Of course, a lot of that had to do with epic characters such as Tony Stark giving us scenes like this one. Bro was on a mission and he realized time was not on his side.
Are you Tony Stank?
Yes, this is Tony Stank. You're in the right place.
Time to go and suit up.
Watching a team suiting up together is truly a joy to watch, especially if the team involves Scarlett Johansson. Just kidding, this ain't that kind of team up. We already saw the one in Age of Ultron, but the reason this one lands higher is because it's the first time we actually see the OG Avengers getting ready for battle. Yeah, sure, the Hulk isn't there and Thor's just outside playing with lightning, but the rest of the team is very much locked in. You've got Iron Man prepping his damaged suit, Captain America grabbing his shield, Black Widow and Hawkeye equipping themselves, and even Thor picks up Mjolnir to join the squad. This was an epic moment which would go on to serve as a prelude to an epic final battle, which would go on to serve as a teaser for the entire Infinity Saga that was upon us at the time.
There is no version of this where you come out on top. Maybe your army comes, and maybe it's too much for us, but it's all on you. Because if we can't protect the Earth, you can be damn well sure we'll avenge it.
Iron Man has been all over this list, and rightly so. His suit-ups aren't just the most frequent, but also the most iconic. The nanosuit scene against Cull Obsidian was the perfect build-up and payoff sequence. The music playing in the background as Tony takes off his glasses greatly complemented his transition to Iron Man in a crucial juncture. We saw this moment in the trailer, but obviously without the money shot, and to be honest, it was the last piece of genius marketing that Marvel pulled off until they decided to bring Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield into the MCU. The nanosuit looked crisp proper, and most importantly, it delivered such an epic blow to one of Thanos' most powerful followers.
Where'd that come from?
It's nanotech, you like it?
I mean, Cull Obsidian was a Hulk-level threat. To have him flying off after a plasma cannon blast on steroids was a legendary way to close off the suit-up scene.
Where'd that come from?
I'm something of a scientist myself. Get me the promochloroparazine.
It stays with me.
It begins.
Multiple contusions detected.
They may have killed off the Ben Affleck version of Daredevil in Deadpool and Wolverine, but that doesn't take away from the fact that he gave us a super impressive suit-up scene from the much-hated 2003 film.
Got work to do.
Charlie Cox may have definitely saved the character's legacy with his spectacular performance, but I don't think he could wear that suit with as much swag as Ben Affleck did here. Matt Murdock transitioning to the Daredevil suit via his glasses was a neat trick, and all the additional fluff he does with his weapons didn't seem as cringe as one would imagine. Plus, the dude literally jumped off a skyscraper as if he's going to play Batman under Zack Snyder 13 years later. I don't think the new Daredevil would have been able to pull that off. See, Ben, you've got some fond memories of these characters you've played. You can stop being a meme now.
I prowl the rooftops and alleyways at night, watching from the darkness. Forever in darkness. A guardian devil.
The MCU's favourite underdog has gone on to become a whole franchise of its own, and I'm so glad they ended it respectfully, unlike Thor. For this particular entry though, the focus is on the first film when all of them prepare to take on Ronan the Accuser. It's like a montage mix between the planning of the attack and the preparation of it with all the guns and weapons they're going to be emptying in the process. What stood out to me the most was obviously the cap everyone participates in towards the end of the scene. They start walking down, looking like a bunch of badass heroes, but then you see Rocket Raccoon scratching his crotch, Star-Lord wiping his nose, and Gamora yawning. They become the biggest bunch of goofy fighters in the galaxy, and audiences everywhere were laughing when they saw that moment. But then again, this is what I love about the Guardians. They're heroes, but they're lovable idiots.
You're immortal. How?
You said it yourself. We're the Guardians of the Galaxy.
It's time.
When it comes to fashion in general, I think it's safe to say that whatever you choose to suit up in, it's always better in black. Damn, I sound like a Disney executive right now, don't I? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make over here is that Superman's black suit is freaking amazing, and I'm so happy they included this scene in the Snyder Cut of the Justice League. To be honest though, who in their right mind would have seen this and been like, yeah, let's cut this out from the movie? It's such a brilliant moment with amazing callbacks. You can see the signature blue and red suit behind Kal-El as he's choosing from his wardrobe, but the man knew the moment he saw the black suit that was the one for him. Spider-Man's suit has always been a popular topic of discussion, so when we do see him getting into it for the first time in Homecoming, there was a lot of hype around it. The fact that it can adjust to Peter Parker's body to make it fit was pretty amazing, and this whole moment got us pumped for some high-octane action to follow. Unfortunately, all we got was a stolen bicycle, helping with directions, and attacking the rightful owner of a car. But hey, we got to see the great Stan Lee in one of his brilliant cameos calling Spider-Man a punk, so I'll take that as a W any day.
Don't make me come down there, you punk!
You're that Spider guy on YouTube, right? Call me Spider-Man! Okay, Spider-Man, don't flip! Yeah!
Remember a moment ago when I joked about being a Disney executive? Well, that meme is actually inspired from this very scene where Bruce Wayne asks Mr. Fox if his suit comes in black.
What's your interest in it, Mr. Wayne?
I want to borrow it for spelunking.
Spelunking?
Yeah, you know, cave diving.
The funny part is that Fox hands him a black batsuit, but Batman went on to make it even blacker for some reason. Having said that, this suit-up scene was legendary to say the least.
So what do you think? Does it come in black?
Because we could see all his gizmos and even the Batmobile right before the bad boy billionaire became the Dark Knight. Christopher Nolan sure knows how to give us great payoffs, so I'm basically surprised we didn't get a suit-up of this caliber later on in this Batman trilogy.
What will you do?
Rebuild it. Just the way it was, brick for brick.
You save the good stuff for special occasions?
Killing mostly.
Yes, ever since Hugh Jackman became Wolverine in the year 2000, we've been wanting to see him in his iconic yellow costume. There was a slight tease in 2013's The Wolverine.
Open it.
But the money shot came 24 years later, and that too thanks to a certain assassin named Deadpool. There are actually two moments here. One is when we see Logan wear the costume for the first time ever, which in itself was a legendary move. However, the real moment of truth came when he faced off against the Deadpool army while putting on the mask as well. This was the ultimate nerdgasm for fans all over the world, and it's one of the many reasons why this movie is the highest grossing R-rated flick of all time.
For the first time in my life, I am proud to wear this suit. It means I'm an X-Man. I am the X-Man.
Yep, there was no way any other entry would take the top spot. 2008's Iron Man was instrumental in making the MCU what it is today. Oh man, the first proper suit-up scene was like a blessing from the comic book gods. The Mark III armor looks so damn fine with the finishing and the late 2000s CGI that I'm sure anyone would have splurged a fortune to get their hands on it. I mean, we're 16 years in the future from that scene and nothing has even come close to topping it, you know? This is just Tony Stark with his own tech. There's no shield, no Avengers, nothing. And that's why he is Iron Man and will forever claim that title.
Truth is, I am Iron Man.
Hope you liked the video. Please subscribe to the TV Regent, and here's another video that I know you'll enjoy.